Hey mages, Matt from TotalMTG here. Welcome to today's video. Today we are looking into a new Commander deck. Now I know a lot of my content on the channel is normally standard or based around budget decks, but this is going to be a budget upgrade for this brand new Commander deck. I personally love Commander. I have up to nearly 60 decks now, fully sleeved and ready to play. A lot of you might not know that about me because you just, it's not something that I normally share on this channel, but occasionally I've done the odd few deck techs and stuff like that, which I might do more of in the past. So let me know what you think about that, if you want to see some of my decks and stuff like that. But yeah, this upgrade, I love doing budget content, as you know. So the total cost of this upgrade of this brand new deck that we're going to look at today is £15. But yeah, we're going to put in 18 new cards into this deck. We're going to crack this open. I'm going to pull out the cards that I'm taking out as we go. Now, the reason for me taking out some of these cards is just because I don't think they're very good, or I don't think they're on theme with the deck, or just that there's better versions of other cards as well. So yeah, I'll be doing that. All the card prices that I've sourced this from are from the channel sponsors, Cardmarket, so you can check them out below. But I'll be flashing up that so you can see how much of those, what the cheapest option to go and get that card, upgrade card potentially is as well. Now, this deck appealed to me. It's tricky terrain. It's a Simic deck. They are my colours, Simic. But it's a different type of deck to your usual Simic, but it does have some similar stuff in there that you see, like the ramp effects and the general win cons of what this deck generally for Simic does. I know there's a Scoot Swarm in there and stuff like that, but what I felt was lacking was some, the deck was lacking was maybe a couple of other types of win cons. I put my best together of the version of this on Brawl, on Arena. You couldn't quite get the version because you were missing far too many cards, but I built like an essence of the deck, and even then it still felt like it was missing something. So I think by adding these budget upgrades, it will only improve the deck. Now, I would definitely give this deck a go straight out of the box as is. First of all, I'll always say that, have fun with it as it is, and then just, tweak and tweak it as you get the cards you want and stuff like that. But hopefully this is a good starting position. If this is your first deck you got, you've picked a tricky one to play without a doubt. Tricky by the name, tricky by nature, but I do think it's a very fun deck and different to what Simic, normally what they're trying to do. So let's get into this. First of all, we're going to have a look at the cards. I'm going to pull out the ones I want, then I'll do the upgrades at the end of the video, and we will also crack, because this comes with a collector booster sample pack, we will then crack that at the end as well. So something to look forward to at the end. Hopefully we get a really nice card. So a bit of an unboxing to start with. Now, I know a lot of the unboxings for this, put out as they product come out, but this is the first chance I've had to do it, and I wanted to do like an upgrade version as well, so I wanted to look into some of the cards and what I think will be, really good for the deck as well. So as I just struggle getting in this and getting the cards out, there we have our lovely Commander. And then we take over. You get, if you're first time seeing this, you do get a nice little box that you can use. Something that you can just upgrade over time. And then you get the Modern Horizons little booster there, and you get a counter for your life, which is not too bad. Made of cardboard, but still very nice if you're lacking in dice, which I'm certainly not. But we'll put that over to the side. You do get as well some story bit about the deck, telling you what Omo, Queen of Vesuva is all about and everything like that. That's something if you can reach for, but what we're going to do is we're going to go and take a look at the cards. So here we go. Let's get a look into these cards now and see what the deck's all about, and then basically pull out the cards that I think we're going to cut as well. So I have 10 main board cards that I'm going to cut out, and then I have 8 lands that I'm going to cut out of the deck as well. Originally, the deck has 44 lands, which I think is, even though the lands-based deck, I think is a touch high. So I'm going to drop down to 42. So I'll be dropping 8 lands and replacing them with 6 others that I think are better. And then that gives us 2 extra spaces to add in some other spells as well. But Omo, when it enters the battlefield or attacks, put an everything counter on each of up to 1 target land, up to 1 target creature. So you get to do this when it enters, and you get to do it when it attacks as well. Now, these everything counters turn all your lands into everything. We've got a win con added into the land base now, which is a very fun way to do, probably well known to you Commander players as well. You can probably guess it. You probably already know what it is. I'm not going to say just yet, but you'll see that in the upgrades. But yeah, this will add in synergy into the creatures, because if you have stuff like Lord effects where you have creatures that give all merfolk, give all elves, give all illusions, give everything like that, and they've got this everything counter on it, they will get everything that is attached to that, which is a very fun way. It is even though it's supposed to be a ramp deck, I find that it has been a little bit slow. So we got ways to fetch those important lands and everything like that in the upgrade, but let's have a little look. Now, this is the second commander. It is Giotto Moog Ancient, and this is the first cut, because I feel like this should really have a deck built around it all by itself. We don't have many lands in here, creature lands or anything like that. And I just feel like the theme of this is just, we don't need it in this type of deck, but I feel like it would be a very good commander on its own. So, yeah, for that reasoning, this was the first cut for me. Maybe controversial to you, but this was definitely my first cut. So, are these all upside down now? Yep, so we're going to have to turn all this around. Here we go. Tokens that you get, and then you get an altered version of this, and this is like a hard. There's not one you really see, but you could just use it as your commander. It's nice, and then you get some tokens in the deck as well. And there is an emblem there, but will we need the emblem? You'll have to wait and see. So here we go. Better if I get it in camera view, eh? So, March from Vale's Vale seems like a nice card. Choose a non-basic land. Each land you control becomes a copy of target creature and gains haste until end of turn. Seems very nice. Wonderscape Sage. Fly and return a land you control to its owner's hand. Draw a card. Nice, drawing a card. I can't think of the creature that's very much like that. It's a fairy that's very much like that as well, which returns a land. But that is very nice as well. Copy land. Enchantment. Ends a battle as a copy of any land, except it's an enchantment as well. So when you're trying to build up synergy with your lands, having this come in as a copy, I feel like, it's a pretty good enchantment. And then we have Desert Warfare. Sacrifice a desert. Whenever a desert is put into your graveyard from your hand. Now, whether there's enough deserts in this is up to, I'm not too sure. I've been adding in some caves and stuff like that, and maybe some deserts is definitely worth, adding into the deck as well. We then have Trench Post. Target player mills a card for each locus you control. I nearly ditched this card, but I'm feeling like, it's a fun way to mess with opponents. So I feel like Trench Post is, it's a bit of a good card. Sage in the Maze. We then have Lazartop Quarry in there. Seems like these are just all mixed up a bit. Rampant Fragrantia, Trample, 3/3. Gets +10/+10 for each player who's lost the game. So, late game. This becoming a massive 13/13. Just seems like, absolutely hilarious and really fun. We then have Sunken. We got Horizon Progress. Pay 1 life. Add 1 mana of a type of land you control could produce. Now, tapping, paying 1 life is good. We don't have a load of life gain in this deck. If any at all, but still a nice card. And this land is probably one of the most expensive cards, I think, in the deck, if I'm thinking it's the right one. Is every non-basic land type, add 1 colours, pay 1 to add 1 mana as well. Aggressive Biomancy, creating tokens, copies of target creature, except they have. Now, I didn't, there's some cards here you might think, well, why didn't you take that out? I didn't want to just take out, like 40 cards and go through to totally change the deck. So I tried to keep it to like, a low cost budget. It's a way to start and just add in some better cards and stuff like that. Hydride Crassus, I just love that card. I remember that card in Standard. Just such a good life gain swing and drawing half your cards and everything like that. Then Terrestrodon. One of the big stompers comes in, destroy 3 target non-creature permanents. And I was watching a recent game of this on a very good channel, Mudster. I really like that, and one of the opponents that played this deck destroyed an opponent's 3 lands. I mean, that was just disgusting. And of course, then everyone started to beat up that player. Lair of Hydra is one of the lands that I will be cutting. Ends the battlefield tapped. If you've got 2 or more other lands, it does enter battlefield tapped, so late game comes in tapped. I just feel like sometimes, I just saving the mana up to put this as a creature. Sometimes I want to be playing stuff out and getting, creatures on the board or interactions. And I just feel like this was a land that I feel was, pretty cuttable. And then we get onto one of the Planeswalkers. For me, Planeswalkers, unless you're in a dedicated Planeswalker deck, there's better Planeswalkers than this. I just feel like these are rather weak. The +2 Scry is nice, the 0. It's an X spell, so maybe when you ramp out and you got your lands, you can ramp into something bigger than this. But overall, for me, Nissa was, that was a cut as well. Magus of Cadalabra. Wow, I'm going to butcher that name. Not very good. Lumbering Falls. One of the few creature lands in this becomes a hexproof creature, 3/3. Nice. Can be there's a blocker, maybe save you in a game. Not really going to get much damage in or do much, but still stays in the deck. Now, Blast Zone is a card that is cut. I don't really want to be destroying the non-land permanents. I feel like this is situational, and it misses a lot of stuff. I just feel like it's not great, and there's better stuff that does that. So Blast Zone goes to the cut pile. Now, Apex Devastator, Cascade. Absolutely brilliant card and a great inclusion in the deck. Cascade, we're keeping that one. Summary Dismissal is okay. Exile other spells. Now, this isn't one of the cuts, but I do feel like there's probably better counter spells that you can put in the deck other than that. Yavimaya, Flooded, some really good lands. Hour of Promise, nice. Searching for 2 land cards, put them on there. And it says 2 land cards, which is very good with that card because it means we can go and search for certain cards because we do have some very good lands in this that we might want to pull as well. Excavator, people might be smashing up your lands, so getting and playing from the graveyard is very good. Crucible of Worlds is an artifact that you could put in there. Not the cheapest though, without a doubt. Drown in Dreams. Target player draws X card. Target player mills twice X cards. I definitely wouldn't mind if you said, yeah, that's a cut. To be honest, it's another X spell. I can see why the X spells are in this because you're ramping into bigger spells potentially. Vivian Reed hits the cut desk. Like I said about Planeswalkers, they just don't do enough for me, and I feel like there's better ones, although that's not a terrible card. Yavimaya, great land. Dryad being able to play extra land each turn is very nice. Helps you get some stuff out, and it's a creature, so you can put the counters on it. Mirage Mirror sometimes will be good, sometimes will be bad. Another one, possible cut, but like I said, I didn't want to take everything out of this. Chromatic Lantern, turn all lands into any colour is very nice. Well, there were only two colours potentially as well. So Oblivion Stone, I don't really want to be destroying each non-permanent once I've managed to get all the counters on. I know you can put fake counters on, stuff like that, but very slow and just not something that I feel like this deck wants to do. And this is certainly something the deck wants to do. It wants to play lands, and Scoot Swarm is one of the win cons. Do love me some Scoot Swarm. Keeping control of those counters though is, yeah, it's quite different. It's quite difficult. Evacuation, return all creatures to their own hands. Once we put all our counters on, we don't really, I know it's a saving grace sometimes, but we don't really want to do that. So that is for the cut pile. Technique, Finale of Revelation. I do like that card. I think that's very sweet. Mana Reflection as well. Big cost enchantment, but we'll be hopefully getting lands into play. Uro, one of the best reprints for this deck. Love that it put in this deck. I do love Uro. It's a big 6/6 beta. You can put it in, potentially gain life, draw cards, play extra land, escape cost as well. So yeah, very, very nice. And Curse of Swine, even though sorcery is good removal for the blue decks. Now Vesuva, that stays. Dark Depths combo in there. Absolutely brilliant. Thespian Stage is nice as well. This is one of the few win cons in the deck, as is out of the box as well. Avenger of Zendikar. Enter battlefield, create a 0/1 green plant creature token for each land you control. I didn't really put any flip effects in this or bounce effects, and I do feel that is definitely a way to go with this deck if you're thinking about that. So having this in there, maybe bouncing your win cons like Avenger Zendikar and get it back in with loads more tokens is definitely a way that you could go. Now, Seer Sundial, don't play that card. It's just way, way too slow. Way too slow. Balofs, like I said, some of the staple for Simics, Baloth, Zendikar in there. They are good ways of winning. They will amass a board, which is why you don't really want cards like Evacuation, bouncing all your tokens and everything like that. Foot Bank, yeah, it's good on the defensive, but makes the cut. It just goes cut. And then we go Urza's Power Plant, Urza's Tower, and the Mine. We get some of those Tron lands. Very good. Satyr Wayfinder is a sweet card. Now, counterspell Arcane Denial. Count target spell's controller may draw up to 2 cards beginning next upkeep. This is in there. It's always kept in. It's always in a lot of decks. I'm just never too sure about Arcane Denial. I don't know. Let me know what you think of Arcane Denial. Now, Simic Guildgate is staying in there, I think. Just looking at my list of cuts. Treasure Cruise, yep, staying. Soul Ring, of course. Basilic Gates, we do have some gates in here. Beast Within, great piece of removal. Staple, and my favourite Simic Commander of all time. Tachiova Bethnic Druid is in the deck. A landfall machine of drawing cards and gaining life. Keep that on the field. It's an absolute all-star. Propaganda. Now, a maybe cut if you've got more cards you want to put in other than the ones I suggested. On theme with it, not really. Just something that I think may get, cut if you like. Flores Viable is one that doesn't make the cut. This is definitely being cut from the deck. 0-2. Ends battle, look at the top 6 cards of your lobby. Yeah, that's nice, revealing a land, but it's just better ways of doing stuff like this. And then put them in the bottom of the order, so you might just get rid of something decent, but we got ways to search stuff up and everything like that, so a bit of tutoring. So Viable, you are cut, my friend. Signet, of course, stays. Then we have some deserts. Hashup Oasis is one that just goes paying that 1 life for the green mana, just not good. Sacking a desert just to give something plus 3/3, pretty, not great in Commander. So that is a land that definitely goes. Searching for this land, Land Searcher, brilliant. Hidden Cataract, yep. Hidden Nursery, you can stay as well. I do like the Discover on those. Volatile Vault, okay. Growth Spiral, draw a card, you may put a land card from your hand. Situation, of course, if you got it, but still 2 mana, draw a card. Elvish Rejuvenator, that is pretty decent as well. Urban Evolution, 5 mana, but you do get to draw 3 cards and play an additional land. So, yeah, it's very on theme with the deck, this one. So, I do like that. As they're getting lower, they're getting less focused. Cause it was a big pile of cards, wasn't there? Thornwood Falls, I'm sorry, you just get cut for better lands. Cloud Post, yep. Sylvan Scrying, brilliant. Search for Bybee for a land card, which is very important with this. We can search for one of our really good lands and potentially one of our win cons. Acidic Slime, I love it. It's Death Touch. It does cost 5 mana. Does destroy something when it comes in as well. But it's just all in all, it's a great ooze. Pongify, good removal. Lush Oasis, that stays. Skullwinder, I'm sorry. It's just going to go. Enter battle, return type card from your graveyard to your hand, then choose an opponent. We don't want to be returning stuff, opponent's hand. That's just not going to happen. Not for me anyway. That stays as well. Command Tower, Poison Dart Frog. I'm sorry, but you are gone. Reach, yeah. 1 mana of any colour, okay. Gains Death Touch potentially as well, but yeah, just not good enough for me. Glimmer Post is one of the land cuts as well. Ends the battlefield, you gain 1 life for each locus on the battlefield. Good, potentially, if we've got loads of counters on there. But potentially just a colourless land and something, like I said, better coming in, hopefully, into the deck. This is another cap. Just comes into the battlefield tapped. 4 to scry 1 is expensive for Commander. Better lands out there for us. You go. 1 island and 1 forest is one of the cuts as well. And I think that's pretty much all of the deck. So, if I manage to put out all my cuts right, we have 8 lands to cut, and we have 10 other cards to cut as well. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I do this right? 7, 8. Yes. Look at that. So, the 8 lands to cut. A forest and an island are going. Campus, like I said, just tapped land. There's better lands out there. Some of them are above budget, like breeding pool and stuff like that, which are a little bit more expensive. But just, I feel like the 6 lands I'm adding in, making space for them, and we do cut down 2 lands as well. So dropping an island and a forest for them as well. Thornwood Falls, Hashipi Oasis, just not great paying that life and the expensive. Blast Zone, not something we really want to be doing. And just Lair of Hydra, we're not really going down the route of creature lands too much. Lumber Falls is in the deck, but like I said, we're not going down the route of Jayoti, which I think, definitely more if you want to play with creature lands and stuff like that. But Planeswalkers, not as strong as I want. Fug Bank, just not good enough for this sort of deck. And the Vine Wall is okay looking at the top 6 cards. It's not terrible, but just a 0-2 defender, and it's just going to basically be there for a blocker. Seer Sundial, way too slow for us. Evacuation, not what we want to be doing, returning creatures once we got tokens out, or we got, all our counters on. Same with Oblivion Stone. We just don't want to be doing that. Skullwinder, giving stuff back to opponent. Big no-no. And there's the rest of the cards. But now we're going to take a look at my upgrades. £15 in total, coming to you for 18 upgrades. So first off, we're going to take a look at the lands that we're going to upgrade. And we have 6 of these. Starting off with Echoing Deeps. Enters the battlefield tapped as a copy of any land card in your graveyard. Now, this is really good, taps in its colours, because we will have some very good lands that opponents potentially will want to kill. So if we go on to one of the main, separate win cons of the deck, you probably guessed it at the start of the video, it was Maze's End. So this enters the battlefield tapped, pay 3, return end to its owner's hand, search your library for a gate card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. If you control 10 or more gates with different names, you win the game. Now, as this will put everything counters on our lands, it turns them into, everything with every single name. That is possible, and this is an absolute perfect deck for this. This is really thematic on the lands. Kind of gutted that they didn't really put it into the deck. One of the most, more expensive upgrades, I think it's around £2.20, but out of all the cards, the most expensive card is £3.80, which is probably just over $4 and, just over €4 as well. So this, if you can pick this up for a couple of pounds, couple of dollars, this is definitely perfect for the deck. The most expensive upgrade is Sunken Citadel, one of the cave cards. Enters the battlefield. As it enters, choose a colour, add 1 mana of the chosen colour. But add 2 mana of the chosen colour, spend this mana only to activate abilities of land sources. So acting those abilities is going to be reduced by Citadel. I was actually quite surprised at the prices, but knowing what it does with land-based decks are very popular. This is probably why this is one of the higher cards. And this is a cave as well, very much like our Echoing of Deeps. New coming in, Urza's Cave. Sacrifice it, search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield taps. Now, this can search out your Maze's End. Or if you've got that in it, maybe you need one of your other types of lands. This can search it just by being sacked, play down, and then be sacked on the turn. It's absolutely brilliant, and this is a real good searcher. And I think this is for about £1. Very good for the deck, and possibly for some other types of decks. You'll probably get a lot of use out of this deck, this card as well. We then have a couple of gates. Baldur's Gate, pay 2, add X mana of any 1 mana equal to the number of gates you control. If we got the counters on, it's just going to make this potentially tap for a lot of mana. And then we have Heap Gate. Tap an untap gate you control, create a treasure token. So you pay 1 to tap an untap gate. Very good. Do this at the end of your turn. Make a treasure token. Gives you some additional ramp as well, and basically just helps you if you're a little bit stuck on lands. This is a very good common card, and is absolutely pennies as well, which is really sweet for this. So there is 6 lands there, and now we're going to get on to some of my creature upgrades and other spell upgrades. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is Cosmium Confluence. 5 mana sorcery. You choose 3. You may choose more than one mode more than once. So you can search your library for a cave card. And as I just spoke, we got some cave cards we can go and search for. We could then animate a land if we want. Animate a cave you control. Becomes a 0/0 elemental with haste with 3/1/1 counters. And then has some, if there's some painful enchantments on the battlefield, if there's more than one, you can choose that 3 times. But searching up for your caves is what this card is in there. And for the budget price, I think this is a really, really sweet card. Next card we're going to talk about is Hackbow of the Surging Soul. So at the beginning of combat on your turn, each merfolk creature you control explores. So if we have the base of everything counters on creatures on the battlefield, they will be merfolk, and at the beginning of combat they will all explore. Everything with an every encounter will explore. So this is what's good about this deck, is once you've got these counters on there, the synergy with like tribes and everything like that, tribal cards, is going to be very good. So whenever Hackbow the Surgeon attacks, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you don't, you get to draw a card. So very, very sweet card. Very good for this deck indeed. We then have Priest of Titania, another recent reprint from Modern Horizons 3. Add 1 green mana for each elf on the battlefield, and I don't need to explain again, but with the everything counts on, if then they are all else, we can just tap this and potentially add some really good mana. So, look at some of the cuts we made. Poison Dart Frog, which was tap for 1 mana. These are just straight upgrades for this. Potentially won't be great straight away, but it will in part of the game without a doubt. Now, a card that I really was shocked wasn't in the deck is Avon Courier. Seems perfect to me. When it attacks, choose a counter on a permanent you control. Put a counter of that kind on target permanent you control if it doesn't have a counter of that kind. So let's get our everything counters everywhere. We just need to attack. Now, you might need to put some kind of protection on this because I feel like it's a very good card. So maybe adding in some, some Swiftfoot boots or something like that. Potentially even adding ways to make this unblockable so you can just keep doing it, pecking away and getting those attacks in so it doesn't die. But I feel like this is a really cool creature, and getting those counters everywhere will be pretty sweet. The next creature we're going to talk about as well is a Baru Wormspeaker. This will help with the win con situation that we were a little bit lacking in this deck. Worms you control get +2/2 and trample, so let's get those everything counts everywhere. Also has an instant of paying 8, which is expensive. Create a 4/4 green worm creature during the ability costs X less the cards to either activate, where X is the greater power amount worms you control. So everything counts on big worms. This could potentially then cost 1 green mana to go and make those 4/4s. And what goes well in conjunction with this is Herald of Hoofbeats. Now, let's get horsemanship in there. This creature can't be blocked except by other creatures with horsemanship. Other knights you control have horsemanship. Let's make them all knights with the everything counters. Make them big trample, 2/2 tramples all on top. Make them unblockable. GG's. That is a good win con that we can add into this deck, and I feel like that would be really sweet. Even pump them up again with Lord of the Unreal, illusion creatures, and then let's make them all hexproof and give them a little bump as well, a +1/1. So we will then be building a massive army for this deck with the conjunction of these cards. It adds in a sweet combo of getting a combo of these cards on the battlefield if you can, and it's a good way to see out some games. We have more ways to search for stuff in the deck as well. I'm adding in crop rotation, sacking a land, search for a land card. 1 mana to search for a land card. Go and get that Maze's End. Very good card for this as well. Traverse the Ulvenwald. Search it out for a basic land, but if there are 4 more card types in the graveyard, we can search for a creature or just land card. So either search for one of the creatures that we might be missing, like Baru or Herald, or we go and get another way to get Maze's End. So the deck now has ways to get cards that we really need. It has an extra win con there as well, which I feel like is really good. Elvish Archdruid, I should have spoke about this one earlier. Elf creatures all get +1, so we give another buff to our creatures. And like the Priest of Titania, we have another way to add loads and loads of mana. So if there's X spells that you feel like you want to add in with these conjunction of this Priest of Titania, we will be able to do some really big spells. Ogre of Autumn. Second to last upgrade, I'm talking about, look at the top card of your library anytime. You could play Courser of Crufix, which is a cheaper, same sort of card, more toughness, gain life. If you feel like Courser of Crufix is a card that you really want to put in other than this. But I like the ability this might be able to help us cast creature spells as well. So if you feel like you prefer the land, the life gain, then get Courser of Crufix in, and it'll save you a little bit of money. Courser is a little bit cheaper than the Ogre of Autumn. And one last card, multi-class Baldric, 1 mana, only equipped 2. So a bit of a sweet card. Creature has lifelink if you control a cleric, death touch, rogue, haste if you control a warrior, flying if you got a wizard. So potentially with everything, we've got all them straight away. So key suit words, got that in there. And as long as you have a full party, prevent all damage to be dealt to a quick creature. Now, you do need this on, you need 5 different creatures to have the full party, I think it is. So you do need that. But just to get the first part of that and just have lifelink, haste, flying, death touch, I just feel like this is a really good card to be added to the deck. So that is my 18 card upgrades. 18 cards in, 18 cards out for a grand total of £15. With the most expensive upgrade, like I said, being the Citadel for £3.80. You're getting really, 18 good cards here, adding an extra win con. Let me know what you think about the cards and, other cards that you potentially would take out and which of these cards you're going to add in. And just, I hope you enjoyed this different type of video from me. So let's open our collector booster sample pack and let's see what we get inside. Hopefully something sweet. Some nice foil potentially. Let's have a look. Right. Ooh, that is very nice. That is a very nice foil. Disruptor Flute. Ends battle. Choose a card name. Spells chosen name cost 3 more to cast. But that is an absolutely gorgeous one. And then a Joy into Wake underneath. So, yeah, pretty happy about them.